Whether you're just trying to find the right niche or subject to write in, or you're looking for great keywords that aren't too competitive, knowing how to effectively and efficiently do book market research can be incredibly important. And through a method that I'm going to teach you in this video, you will be able to find non-competitive keywords that give you the best opportunity to show up more often, as well as use that data to make future decisions on what areas to write in or maybe a new subject to cover. Plus, publishing companies have been using this information I'm about to teach you to make decisions like which books to sign, which genres or areas to focus in, and where to put their marketing capital. So definitely don't discount it. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to do effective book competition research. Plus, I'm also going to help to dispel a couple of misconceptions that are out there, and I think these things combined will help you to make better marketing decisions down the road. And then to top it all off, I'm going to show you an extra fast and effective way to do all of what I'm going to teach you. But before I get into that, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, go ahead and click that, as well as the little bell icon to the right so as to get notified when my next video comes out. And with that, let's begin. All right, so first off, I want to start by dispelling a common misconception that's out there about book competition research. There are many teachers out there that teach that one of the biggest factors to how competitive a phrase or keyword is to type a keyword phrase into Amazon and see how many books Amazon lists for that keyword. If the number is large, then it is more competitive. If it is small, then it is less competitive. Now, I'm not saying you can't use that as a factor on when figuring out if something is too competitive or not, but I am here to say that it should not be a major factor. You see, many online teachers say this is a major factor because it kind of makes sense, right? Hey, if there are more books that show up, then clearly it is harder and more competitive, right? Plus, it is really easy to see. Just look at the number and now compare two numbers. Easy peasy, right? And on the surface, yeah, that seems pretty cool, right? However, though, when you look at what actually takes place when Amazon indexes a book for keyword, and by the way, index means that they choose to put it under that keyword somewhere, it doesn't look that good anymore. You see, Amazon indexes books for a keyword phrase because they saw something that might link it to that phrase. It could be that a word or part of the phrase or a tertiary version of the word was in the title, subtitle, description, 7 keyword phrases box, or even inside the book to some extent. It could also be linked to other authors or books that fit that keyword phrase through something else. The point is, there are a lot of reasons that could make Amazon shove that book in under that keyword and have it indexed there. Because of this, a large percentage of books that get indexed for a keyword aren't actually a great fit for it. They just sort of connect to it somehow, enough that Amazon will index it for that phrase. An example, if you type into Amazon something like Learn Finance, which has over 40,000 plus books indexed for it. After a while, you'll find books like Learning Chess, children's books on the first day of school, or even see a bunch of fiction books that pop up because one of the characters works in finance or something like that. The same thing for something like fiction, like epic fantasy romance, which has over 20,000 books. You'll definitely find a lot of books that are just one form of romance with no fantasy, or vice versa. Not to mention, there will be some epic World War II history books and true battle stories, war memoirs, and more. On the other side of the coin, if you just type in a title of a book, you'll see a lot less books that show up for that phrase. So you would think less competitive, right? Not exactly. So as you can see, just using the number of books that are indexed for a keyword should not be a major factor in whether or not something is competitive. There are way too many things that could make this maybe a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, for example, if it's a title, you're right, it's going to be low competition according to the number. But that might not be true. And as well, it might be one of those that's so broad that has way too many things under it. So how do we do effective book competition research? Well, we need to look at the books that show up on the first page of Amazon for that keyword phrase. This is because though there are 40,000 plus books on learning finance and 20,000 plus books on epic fantasy romance, those that they chose to show on the first page for those searches are the books they actually think fit the phrase best and are more likely to convert into sales. Because, I mean, after all, when Amazon puts the best books in front of the best opportunities, Amazon makes more money and that's what they want. So, if you want a clear indication of how competitive something is and whether or not you can benefit from that opportunity, you need to take a look at the books that show up on the first page of Amazon and disregard the 39,000 plus other books. It can be a small part of your calculus, but definitely not the big part. Okay, so now that we understand the importance of looking at those top ranking books, let's go ahead and look at the factors that you should use in order to help you understand if this is too competitive or if this is a prime opportunity. To begin this process, you can either use a sheet of paper or an Excel sheet. From there, I like to make a tab for each of the keyword phrases that I'm going to look into and have columns for the following factors. Starting from left to right, I will look at how many sales are they making. Take a look at each book, find their Amazon bestseller rank, and using my free Kindle calculator, you can see how many books sold that day. So as to help me compare to other keywords, I also like to take the average of the first 5 books and use that number. If every book is solidly selling, then this can be a good indication that it will be more competitive. Is the keyword in the title or subtitle? If I see the target keyword in the title or subtitle, then this is a great indication that the book not only fits for that keyword, but that the book is really targeting it as well. And so this can increase the competitiveness. How new is the book? As I showed in a previous video, Amazon gives preferential treatment to new books. They do this by showing them more often for more keywords in better rankings. If you look at the age of all the books, are they all new books or are there older books showing too? If all the books are newer, then it means that Amazon is quick to put newly launched books for this keyword in front of their shoppers and is an easier opportunity to show up for them than if it isn't. If there are a lot of older books, then it probably means that Amazon has pegged these as prime books for that phrase, and it might be harder to rank for or stick there. How popular are the authors that show up for this? If the authors that wrote those books are strong and famous, then they have a lot of marketing at their disposal, and Amazon knows this. Beating out established authors is a lot harder. I like to give a scale of 1 to 10 on this, with 10 being Stephen King level and 1 being brand new. How fitting is their book cover to the keyword phrase? This is really important. If you look at the covers and you're either confused by who they serve or what they are about, then this is a good sign because they're showing for this keyword and still making sales, so this feels like good opportunity. For this, I like to also give it a 1 to 10, with 10 being a perfect fitting and good looking book cover. How many reviews do they have? If you see lots of reviews showing up for that book and they're all good grades, then these books had or have a following. Couple this with their age, and this can give you a sense of how powerful the book is. How good is their Amazon book sales page? Looking at their book sales page, how does their description look? Is it formatted properly? Is the content good? Have they filled in an editorial review? And how strong does it look? Did they do A+ content? And if so, does it look professional? And again, like I've done before, I'll give this a grade of 1 to 10, with 1 being really poor and 10 being excellent. And I should probably take notes on how to do this because it looks great. Okay, so that can feel like a lot of steps and maybe a lot of Excel pages. For those of you who have published a Rocket, this is actually way simpler. First, you can see the competitive score for that keyword listed here. This score uses a lot of what we just discussed and makes it very simple by not only giving it a number ranging from 1 to 100, with 100 being crazy hard and 1 being super easy. It also gives a color system, with green meaning not competitive, yellow being pretty competitive, and red being really competitive. Another way of looking at those colors is that anyone can rank for the green ones. If it is yellow, then I'd say go for it, only if it is perfectly fitting and a great keyword because of what your book is about and has a great searches per month number. Or you're also a very popular writer and you can swing pushing that keyword as well. As for red, I'd stay away from these unless you are a famous writer or have a huge following or something like that, and it is just an absolute fit. Now, it will list all those books and show you all the necessary information about them. You can check out their covers, see how old they are, whether the phrase is in the title or subtitle, and their sales. You can even click here to go check out the book on Amazon as well and see their Amazon sales page. And one last thing that I want to add too is I love doing this process because as I go through it, I'm looking for just seeing anything anybody does right. Oh wow, I love that subtitle. Oh man, that's a great hook to their book description. Hey, that's a really interesting idea on A+ content. And as I'm doing this, I'm collecting notes and it just makes my Amazon sales page that much better. Now I get it, it sounds like you're copying, right? But really we're taking something and we're gonna improve it and it just makes our book better. So doing this competition research process not only helps you to make the right decisions, but it can also give you tips and tricks and just ideas on how to improve your book sales page, as well as improve your overall book and get it into more shoppers' hands. Okay, so to recap, like we talked about, using just the number of books that show up for a keyword is not a great indication of whether it's competitive or not. As a matter of fact, I like to think of it as a smaller factor in the overall grand scheme of things. Instead, I like to look at the top books that rank for it and ask myself, hey, how are those doing? Let me look at them because clearly Amazon said these are the ones I want to show our shoppers when they search for this. And if you find opportunity, then you have a chance, whether you're brand new or even if you've got a major following, it gives you that opportunity. All right, with that, I'm Dave Chesson of Kindlepreneur, signing off. Cheers.